everyone, it's Joe here from Draft FPL and welcome to a weekly series helping you find some good value free agents and waiver pickups in Draft FPL. We are back, it's another double game week 27. We've got a whole host of picks for you today, so let's just get struck straight into it. First up, we're going in for Webster again. I know I picked him a couple of weeks out of the last 3 or 4, but I just think available in 69% of leagues still. He's not absolutely nailed on. There is a slim chance that Colwill will come in and take his place when he's fit, but I don't think it's going to be this game week. I think maybe game week 29 is the week where we could see a bit of trouble for Webster. I think he'll just about get these 2 starts in game week 27. The rest of the defence, I mean, the best pick is a Stupinan for sure in the defence, but he's very well owned now. Dunk is probably the next best, the most safe pick in the back 4. Then we have Veltman and Webster, both are kind of prone to a little bit of rotation. Obviously, Lamptey started last game week, but then got injured after about 20 minutes, and Veltman came on and then kind of got the goal and the clean and the haul, which was a bit of luck for Veltman owners. But I will say that I think it's unlikely Lamptey comes back in for game week 27, so Veltman is still a good pick. I can't really get my head around why Veltman is owned in about 80% of leagues and Webster's only owned in about 30%, because in my mind at least, Webster seems to be more likely to start than Veltman at the moment. But I think both will likely start game week 27, but there is a little bit of rotation risk for both of them. And as we can see from the fixtures, the double in 27, then it's a blank in 28, and then a double in 29 is just absolutely fantastic. Brighton will also have another 2 double game weeks, I believe, in the 30 to 38 stint of game weeks. So they're a very exciting team to be holding on to at the moment. Next up, we've obviously got the Brentford defence as well. Brighton and Brentford are the 2 teams with the obvious good double fixtures. Hickey's available in 91% of leagues. He's probably my 4th choice in terms of Brentford defenders, but I thought I'd mix it up a bit instead of going for Pinnock every week. I think Ben Mee and Rico Henry are the 2 best options. Well, I think Rico Henry is the best option. I think he's the most attacking, nailed on. Ben Mee and Ethan Pinnock are both nailed on at centre-back as well. Their partnerships have come really good for Brentford this season, so I don't see either of them losing their place unless it's to injury. And then Hickey is much more of a risk. If you are a little bit behind the curve with Brentford defenders and the rest are all picked, then Hickey is the one I would go for. There is competition for his place with Rorslev, but I think it's Hickey's spot to lose at the moment. He started against Fulham last game week, and I expect that to continue. The fixtures are so good. Everton away and Saints away in 27. It's 2 away games, but it is a double game week against 2 struggling sides, so you definitely hope for at least 1 clean sheet there. Then they've got Leicester at home in 28 in the blank game week, which is great. Then it's a tricky double game week in 29, but it is still a double. Brighton away, United away. So it is a double game week, but it is a tough one in 29. And then it's Newcastle at home in game week 30, which is kind of okay. Next up, we've got Clement Longley, available in 84% of leagues. Spurs have a nice little run of fixtures, no double game weeks, but Forest at home, Saints away, Everton away in the next 3 is not bad. They have one of the best game week 28 fixtures, I'd say, Saints away, and Forest at home this week makes it quite a nice little double header of fixtures for the next 2 game weeks. So I think a Spurs defender's not a terrible shout, but it is going to be tricky to pick one that starts. Spurs are obviously not in great form. You wouldn't be surprised to see a few changes from the team that lost to Wolves. I initially had Ben Davies down as my pick for this week because I assumed he would be similar ownership level to Longley, as he started 7 in a row now. But when I looked at it, Ben Davies is owned in 95% of leagues, whereas Longley is owned in 16%. I'm not really sure why that is. They're very similar profile of player. I think both are going to start. Obviously, there is a bit of a risk. They do have a few different options, but I would think that Longley gets the start here. But yeah, I really couldn't understand the disparity between Ben Davies and Clement Longley. It might just be name recognition maybe. But yeah, I think as kind of as poor as Spurs have been, Forest are really bad away from home, and I think this is a very good chance at a clean sheet for them. On to midfielders then, and I'm going to start off with someone a little bit more exciting, and that is Damsgaard of Brentford. He has shown a lot of promise this season. There's been so many times when I've been desperate to pick him up, thinking he's going to be, brilliant for Brentford, and he's never really got that run of starts. He's had some injury problems, but I do think he's a really talented player, and he did get the start against Fulham, and I think he's probably going to get, I would say he gets at least one start out of Everton away, Saints away, and I would expect at least sort of 120 minutes-ish out of him, which I think is decent. It's good fixtures. I expect Brentford to score a few goals in these two fixtures, so getting involved in their midfield is definitely a winner. Available in 99% of leagues. As I said with Hickey, if you're behind the curve a little bit and you find yourself lacking some double game week players and you're in quite a competitive league where they've all already gone, I think Damsgaard is a pretty good pickup this week. He's a bit more interesting. He's a very creative player, decent attacking stats, and I think it's time that he gets a run in the side now. And if he gets a decent run over the next 5 games, then you're absolutely onto a winner. Double game week. If he starts both of those, then it's Leicester at home in the blank game week, which is great. Then another double game week in 29. So a bit more of a rogue pick, definitely riskier, but I do think it's a bit more exciting. And then next we have the kind of more boring pick. I know I've picked Wissa basically every week, but the fixtures have been that good that I can't resist but putting him on the video just in case. Available in 85% of leagues still. 2 double game weeks out of the next 3. They play in the blank. Wissa, it looks like Thomas Frank is kind of settled on that front 3 at the moment of Mbeumo, Toney and Wissa. They do play well together, so I think it's definitely a good decision by Thomas Frank to stick with that. It's good for Wissa. He's lowly owned, but he is a decent player, and a few attacking returns in these next few game weeks could prove very valuable. Next up, another bit of a rogue shout for the double game week is Alcaraz of Saints. Available in 99% of leagues. I will say right off the bat, he does have an injury concern. He injured his knee in celebrating his goal that he scored against Leicester, which I always just think is hilarious. But the signs are pretty good for the injury. They think he should be fit for the United game, which leads me to believe he may be on the bench, but then should start the Brentford game, you would have thought at least. I think he's Saints' only real hope of scoring goals in open play. Obviously they have James Ward-Prowse, which helps from the set pieces, but I think in open play Alcaraz seems like pretty much the only player in the squad that's capable of scoring any kind of goal in open play. So I think he's actually a pretty decent pick this week. I fancy Saints to score at Old Trafford, and I think they're going to be bang up for that Brentford at home game. Saints are absolutely desperate for points at this stage in the season, and I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Alcaraz get on the score sheet in at least one of these two. I would say that if he proves to be not fit and you want someone that is a little bit more guaranteed to start, I also like Suleimana as well. I don't think he's got quite the end product that Alcaraz has, but he is a decent player in his own right. Absolutely rapid and quite exciting to watch. So I think Suleimana is a decent alternative if you don't fancy the Alcaraz injury risk. Another positive with Saints is they do play in game week 28 as well. It's Tottenham at home, which isn't a terrible fixture at the moment. It just means that you've got an extra player for that blank game week in 28. Final midfielder today is, it's another boring one. I was going to do Elise, but I always pick Elise whenever Palace have a good fixture. And I just thought, I'm going to switch it up a bit. Jordan Ayew, not much more interesting, but available in 88% of leagues. It's a really tough double game week for Palace. City at home, Brighton away is tough, but Palace actually have a pretty good record, compared to a lot of teams against City and against Brighton. So I wouldn't be surprised to see an upset in at least one of these games. Jordan Ayew is absolutely loved by Patrick Vieira. He seems to play him every single week. I'm not sure if I would if I was a Palace manager. But there we go. He does work hard. He does all the dirty work, and he is playing in the front three. So you would think he's going to get at least a few chances in one of these games. They do play in game week 28 as well, which is definitely a bonus. It's Arsenal away, which is probably the worst fixture in game week 28, but at least they are playing. He won't be a blank player for that week that you have to instantly ship out, and the fixtures aren't that bad after that, but they don't double in 29, which is a bit of a shame. On to forwards, and we've got Ferguson again. I have to pick him. While he's available in 47% of leagues, I just have to put him in the video just in case there's someone watching this that is in one of these leagues where he's available, because it's such an important pickup. There are very few forwards I would keep over him at the moment. Double game week, then a blank, then another double game week. And it's not just double game weeks. Like, these are absolutely prime doubles. Leeds away, Palace at home in 27 is unbelievable. Brentford at home, Bournemouth away in 29 is almost just as good. And Brighton are guaranteed to have, I think, at least 2 more double game weeks for the rest of the season. Definitely guaranteed 1 more. I think it depends how they do in the FA Cup if they'll get 2 more. But it's a team you got a lump on. I think Ferguson's pretty much nailed on now. He's definitely their best striker, and just an absolutely fantastic pickup. And final pick this week, I am going back in for Chris Wood, just in case you are ahead of the game, you've been paying attention, you're all set up for game week 27, and you don't need any more doublers, but you do fancy picking up a new forward. I will say that there's not many better for game week 28 and 29 than Chris Wood. Available in 58% of leagues, there's a decent chance he's free. If you can bench him in game week 27, which a lot of people will be able to, because they'll be picking up Brighton, Brentford, Palace, Saints players to play, it probably means you can afford to bench Chris Wood in game week 27 away to Tottenham. Then they've got a game in 28, which is Newcastle at home. They've got a great home record, so I wouldn't be surprised if they score there. Then in game week 29, it's Wolves at home, Leeds away, which is a fantastic double game week. So just for those 2 fixtures, 28 and 29, I think Chris Wood is in a perfect position to do your team well. So if you are ahead of the game, then I think he's definitely a really good pickup. And just be warned, he's definitely going to be in the Game Week 28 waivers video next week, so just expect this exact same segment again. But I think he's a good pickup, and especially if you can afford to bench him this week, then he's really strong. Okay, then that wraps up my picks for Game Week 27. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.